So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually testing out a natural stone today. I've never used this. This is actually the Amakusa, I think it's 1200 grit or 1000 grit. And so it's the first time I'm using a natural stone. So I figured, you know what, let's just play around while I'm restoring this knife, try something different. And yeah, so enjoy the restoration. Or really just a shopping session. Interesting. It's really lumpy. Okay. I didn't expect that, but it's a natural stone. I'm sure it's similar to my brick. It may not even sharpen quite as well as my brick. It's really lumpy. So it might be a good idea to flatten the stone. All right, let's just try this. Yeah, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it without flattening first, and then if I feel like it needs to get flattened, then I'll flatten it. You hear that loud pitch? It needs more water. Okay, so this is, it seems like a fairly soft stone. I see a lot of slur developing here. And it's not developing a burr. This is only a VG10. And normally with any of my whetstones, my synthetic whetstones, by pass number 2 or by pass number 3, a burr has developed. And I can't feel the burr at all on this knife. Okay, I'll give it another couple passes and let's see how we do. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so I've got a burr on the other side now. And so now I'm just gonna get the blade ready for moving on to the strop. So I'm just gonna deburr on the stone. And so the way I deburr normally is I just simply run the knife a few passes on the stone really fast, and that will help remove the burr. Pretty much ready for the strop. So just a couple of strokes per section of the knife. Okay, so now the burr's on the other side. Okay, I do one pass or one stroke per side. Okay, so now the knife is burr free. And so now we're gonna just hop on the strop and see how we do, how the edge feels. Ride this off. Oh no. Oh no, battery's running low. Oh no. I hate stopping mid-sharpening. Be right back. Okay, so I think I finished on the whetstone and the knife feels okay. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to strop. I'm just gonna do single pull strops on my leather strop here. This is a rolled buffalo with 9,000 grit or so. This is the Herald's Red, and it's a very good compound. And so this should give us a very clean edge. So I'm not going onto a higher grit level for whetstone because I want to see how the stone performs as is with just the stone itself and plus a strop. Because I think if you only bought a 1,000 grit stone, it would be good to strop after a 1,000 grit stone, because a 1,000, even though it will give you a very good result, you can definitely clean up your edge a lot by going onto newspaper or a strop or leather strop of some sort. And I'm going very light strokes. I'm not so worried about applying pressure because the point of the strop is all it does is pulls off any excess materials that's left on by the whetstone. Okay, that feels very nice. All right, and it's no special leather, it's just a leather that these are straps that I make, so you don't need to buy any special strap out there. You can buy a $20 strap, $30 strap. Yeah, they all pretty much do the same thing. All right, so that's ready, and so it feels good. Let's do some cutting tests here. So fashion catalogs are always good for cutting tests. So the edge is really nice and clean. Listen to the paper. There's no skips that I can hear. Means the edge is very nice and clean. Push cut horizontal to the paper, to the grain. Yeah, so edge is nice and sharp. But now, what does the Edge On-Up PT50A will say? All right, so this is the PT50A. If you guys have never heard of it, it's just basically a scale, a very, very sensitive scale that measures weight and it measures everything in grams. And so if you can get a knife that measures in this scenario here under 300, you've got a very sharp kitchen knife. And if it's over 300, it's still okay. But if you get under 300, that's what they would, that's the scale that they give you as a high-end kitchen knife. And so between 300 and 400, I would say it's very accessible for any kitchen use. Between 200 and 300, you've got a very, very sharp knife. So 244, okay, so really not bad at all. I was hoping that this would be under 300, so 244 is very acceptable for using just one stone and a strop. So overall, I mean, the stone is, let me put this away, so 244. So the stone is very interesting. I find that the stone is much slower than what I'm used to using a Chaucera or even a Serax or a Debato. It's definitely on the slow side in terms of speed. It's very lumpy. When I first pulled it out, I didn't flatten the stone at all because I want to see how well it sharpened as it is. I definitely don't recommend you using the stone out of the box as it is unless you are a little bit more experienced. I would say that this stone here definitely can probably use a little bit of flattening when you first pull it out. If you don't want to flatten the stone with anything expensive, you can use sandpaper. Put the sandpaper on a really nice flat surface, and then put the stone on top of that and grind it down that way. 220 grit is what I usually use for flattening whetstones. You can also use drywall mesh paper, which I'll leave linked in the video description. And if I've got that video up, I will leave a video link to where you can see all budgets for flattening whetstones. In terms of overall feel, it has a very interesting feel. It's very gritty, definitely more gritty than I'm used to on a typical synthetic 1000 grit whetstone. It has a lot of pebbles in it that you can definitely hear. I'm pretty sure you can hear that during the sharpening. You can definitely feel it and see it. If you look at the surface of this whetstone here, there are just lots of, I would call it debris or impurities on the cutting surface. So it's very interesting. It's also very soft. It was developing a lot of slur during the sharpening, and so for me, I don't really like slur because I feel like it slows me down, and also it takes away my ability, especially when slur loads up on your fingertips. It takes away my ability to feel for the edge and feel my burr. It's definitely softer and slower cutting than any synthetic whetstone I've used in the 1000 grit category. I understand why people love natural whetstones. Now, this is only my very first one that I'm using on my channel. I have others that I will be doing reviews on, but I can see the allure of a natural whetstone. It feels like you're using something that's kind of ancient and something that's very, that it has some sort of connection to the earth at some point because it comes directly from a mountainside, which is cool when you think about it, that they're able to cut out a piece of rock from a mountainside and you can sharpen on it. So there is that allure, I understand that, but from a raw performance standpoint, I think that I bought this stone for about $45 plus shipping. So all in all, it was under $60. For $60 on a synthetic whetstone, there are a variety of whetstones I would definitely recommend over something like this. The Serax 1000 is definitely up there. For an extra $10, you can buy the Chaucera 800, which is my favorite splash and go whetstone of all time. And so, for this budget, there are better performing synthetic whetstones out there. But I will have to say that it is very fun to use, and this is also my very first time using it. So I will flatten the stone out and just give it a fair try again. I'll try it on a different knife, on some different knives, and see how the finish looks. Because the finish on this knife is interesting because it's a very matte finish, but it also is not a very even finish on the cutting edge. It gives your knife a very interesting aesthetic at the cutting edge. So I do see the allure of it. But in terms of raw performance, for those who are wondering, it will not outperform a really high quality or decent quality synthetic whetstone. So that's my conclusion. I'm sticking with it. I will post a link to this exact stone in the video's description if you guys want to just check it out on your own time. If you guys want to check out my strops, I make my own homemade strops here, right here in my shop. I will leave a link to those as well. And yeah, if you guys want to see other whetstones reviewed, and if you have any questions about whetstones in general, please leave them in the comments. I read all my comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. Well, thank you guys for being here, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I have an app that I've been developing for the last, I would say, the greater part of 2018. And the main goal of this app, it's going to allow people like stay-at-home moms and dads, or people who just like to cook on their part-time, on the weekends, and they want to make a few extra portions of what they're really good at and sell it to the community around them. And so this is not a get-rich scheme app. This is not for you to sell something across the world, although that could happen. And so what's really cool about this app is that it connects you to those in your community through food. I need 100 of you guys to beta test this app. And so what we'll do is I will leave a link in the video description to a mailing list, an email list. And so there will be no spam, I guarantee you. This list goes directly to me, and it's only for me to communicate about when you can download the app. And that's really about it. But yes, that is something that I am very excited about. I look forward to catching up with you guys there, and I will catch you in the next video.